Kelsey Aida. I'm an inspirational blogger and author, and today I want to bring to you a video about anxiety and how to deal with it, how to live with it, how to cope with it in the healthiest ways that I found really work, that are effective, and that are not bypassy ways where you push it away, but instead you bring it closer in order to find resolution, peace, and self-love. And this is something that I've really been working on, especially in the last couple of years of my life. I've always dealt with anxiety. I always was like a nervous Nelly type of person. Even when I was little, I would worry about getting good grades so I could get into a good school and then get into a good job, and like my thoughts would just spiral. So if you're someone who has always dealt with anxiety, or even if anxiety is a new thing to you thanks to this global pandemic, everybody's freaking out, which we should be. If like there was ever a good time to have anxiety, it would be now. I think that's the appropriate response. But I wanted to bring this video to you guys to really shed some light on some healing practices and tools that will hopefully to help you through it. So I wrote them down here. The first one is to validate your anxiousness and just give yourself permission to have anxiety. So many times when this uncomfortable feeling comes up, it's easy for us to be like, I don't want to deal with this, I don't have time with this, or to say I shouldn't be feeling this way, I don't know why I'm feeling this way, there's not even anything to worry about, why am I worried, this is ridiculous. Judging yourself is never going to put you in a beneficial situation. So what you can do instead is, sometimes I just like to put my hand on my heart and be like, you know what, Kelsey, it's okay for you to feel anxious. There's nothing wrong with being anxious. It's just a feeling in your body. It's going to pass just like anything else. And it's not wrong to have anxiety. It's part of the human experience. So just validating that you're human, making it normal to have anxiety is going to make a world of a difference. So that's step one. Another practice that is really, really helpful is to realize that not all of you is anxious, okay? You have anxious tendencies and you have anxious parts, and there's probably one or two aspects of you that are the most anxious. But when you can realize that you are not your anxiety, that anxiety is just a part of you, it's easier to kind of find that healthy distance so that you can coach yourself through it. So what I like to do is name my anxious part. So she's like nervous Nelly or whatever, like nervous Kelsey, anxious Kelsey. And what's really helpful is to get to the root of, why is this part so worried? What is it worried about? And not to take the worries at face value, but to ask it its intention for worrying. So one time I actually interviewed my anxious part and I was like, why are you so anxious all the time? What's the point? And it was like, well, I worry for Kelsey so that she doesn't have to worry in real life. Like, I'm the pre-worry. I'm the worry that comes before the actual worry. I'm the part that helps her to save money so she doesn't actually have to worry about it in a pandemic. I'm the part of her that helps her make smart choices so she doesn't have to worry later down the road. I'm the part of her that's always worried on her behalf because I want her to have a good life, right? So I'm asking, why are you worried? Why are you doing this? How is this serving Kelsey, you know? And when I learned that my anxiety was just wanting me to have a good life and to actually not have to worry, ironically, I really found a new appreciation and love for that part of myself. And it's really possible to love that part of you without having to love having anxiety. You don't have to be happy about having anxiety or being anxious all the time, but you can be appreciative for the intention behind the anxiety, which is always something to help you. Your anxiety wouldn't be there if there was a part of you that thought that it wasn't gonna help you in some way. So the part of you that's anxious is only trying to help you, and when you can see that pure, positive, loving intention, it's really hard not to at least admire your anxiety for that much. So that is like a game changer, doing parts with your anxiety and just figuring out like, wow, my anxiety is actually my friend. It's not trying to hurt me, it's actually trying to help me. Another really, really, really awesome practice is to learn how to identify your anxious thoughts as they arise and call them out for what they are. So when you find yourself worried about something, the actual thought, if you're addicted to anxiety and if you've practiced anxiety for a long time like I have, your anxiety is going to find things to worry about regardless of if there's actually something to worry about. So especially in cases like this where I'm home a lot right now during the pandemic, I don't have that much to do, my mind is like looking for things to be anxious about because that's all it really knows how to do. So identifying your anxious thoughts as they come up and then questioning their validity, this is different than validating your anxiety and making it okay to feel anxious. This is where your wise self, your higher self, or sometimes they call it your inner parent, comes in and you kind of call bullshit on those worries. So let's say, for example, if you haven't seen your partner in a long time and then you start to worry, oh, they're not that into me anymore. This is not actually a thought that's based in truth. It's a thought that is literally something your anxiety created because it has nothing else to worry about. So your anxiety will do this, and then you'll notice, even if you convince yourself not to worry about that anymore, if you really are addicted to anxiety, your anxiety is just going to pivot and find something else to worry about, like, well, your finances aren't this and that, and oh, this is also happening in the world, and blah, 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 blah. Like, it's never ending, right? Because you're addicted to being anxious, being in this state. So to identify an anxious thought is to kind of be like, well, this is just my anxiety talking. Just because I'm having this thought doesn't mean that it's true. I can still hold space for the feeling of anxiety in my body and have compassion for the part of me that thinks this, but is this thought actually true? Is it based in truth? Can I know for sure that my partner is not in love with me anymore because we haven't spent enough time together this week? No. It's ridiculous, right? So this kind of ties into Katie Byron's work. She teaches how to question your thoughts to get to your truth and to get to the truth of all situations. So I would highly recommend looking into that type of work. But really, when you have anxiety, one of the key things that is going to help you to live with it so much easier is to realize when your thoughts are spiraling because of your anxiety and to not feed the actual thought itself and to not take your thoughts at face value. Especially if you have a thought like, this is never going to change, I'm always going to be this way. Never and always are two surefire indicators that that's your anxiety talking. That's probably not the truth of any given situation. So having compassion for the part of you that has anxiety, but calling bullshit on the thoughts and not taking those thoughts at face value. Because if you take that thought and you start to run with it, that's when you spiral, right? That's when you go into the anxiety deep end and you just keep going down and down and down and worrying and worrying and worrying. So that's what we don't actually need to do in order to hold space for anxiety. Which brings me to my next point, which is when you have anxiety, you can hold space for the sensation in your body without giving into the actual thoughts of the anxiety. So what I mean is calling bullshit on those thoughts, like I said before, and then all you have that's left when you're not entertaining those thoughts anymore is the actual sensation in your body. So for me, where I feel anxiety is in my heart. I feel like it's fluttering around really fast, or sometimes I feel it in my head, I get a headache. So can you just sit and just notice that feeling in your body without making it wrong, without judging it, without needing it to change? Just give it a little bit of attention. Give it some love. Just let it live in your body, and you will be surprised how quickly it will create resolution on its own. Even after a few deep breaths sitting with it, or a few moments or a few minutes, it could just be gone. Usually if I have a headache from anxiety, I'll just sit with it for a little bit, and at first it's hurting, but then I'm just paying attention to the pain, I'm just giving it love. I'm like, okay, I'm having anxiety right now, but it's not a problem, it just is what it is. I might not like it, but this is what's here, so I'm just gonna love it. And then the pain subsides after a few moments of doing that. And same with the fluttering. Or sometimes you'll dive into the emotion and maybe you might realize that you're just really scared and you might cry a few tears, whatever it is. But the point is you're processing the emotion. You're letting it out of your body so it's not stuck there and it doesn't become your point of attraction all the time. So feeling is healing, as they say, as I say, and as uncomfortable as it is, the only way out is through. So without spiraling into the thoughts of anxiety, you can still hold space for your anxiety, which is super, super helpful and a very beneficial practice for you to start doing. And then, finally, after you've done all that, you've gone through the anxiety healing circle that I just mentioned, you held space for your anxiety, you processed it a little bit, now is the time to start using your self-soothing tools like affirmations, meditation, maybe go for a walk, do something to bring your state back up when you're ready. Once you've released that resistance, you've released some of the anxiety, now it's time to feel better if that's your next choice. So what I like to do is there are certain affirmations that work really well for me. So like when I'm coming out of an anxious tendency, it's really helpful to just be like, this is just your anxiety, everything is actually okay. Right now I'm really safe, I'm looking around my house, nobody's attacking me, I'm healthy in my body, I have money in the bank, there are people who love me. Shifting into a sense of gratitude and appreciation and safety is like the antidote for anxiety. So once you're ready to feel better, going into those states is going to be super, super helpful. And I just wanted to mention that all of these things that I am talking about today, a lot of them I have been practicing with one of my friends who just so happens to be a shaman. His name is James Mendoza. And we actually just created a group program for you guys to help you learn and adapt to these types of tools if you're someone who struggles with anxiety. And we're actually starting on the 27th, so Monday in a few days. And if you're interested in learning more about the group, it's a 6-week group program where we're gonna do video chats every week. James is gonna be basically doing healing work with everyone, doing parts work, teaching you all these skills, and I'm gonna be there too, helping. And really, it's for people who need to learn how to love themselves through their anxiety. So if you feel like that's you and if this video helped you, that program is really going to help you, and it's a really intimate, small container, and you get to work with James in a really, really cool way. Normally I pay him a couple $100s per session, but this whole thing is just a couple $100 for 6 weeks of working with him and me. So it's a great opportunity to really heal some of your anxiety, to learn these helpful tools, and to know that you're not alone and there's help for you to process these feelings, and you don't have to keep feeling them forever. So just wanted to let you know that there's hope, there's resources. If you want to check that out, I'll put the link in the bio, but it's just kelseyayida.com/HAC for Holistic Alchemy Circle. That's what we named the program. And yeah, I hope to see you guys in there, and I really hope that this video helped with your anxiety.